Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. And I will officially open today's meeting at 9:39 a.m. And I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting, the traditional land of the Whadjuk people and the Noongar Nation. And we acknowledge the Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of Western Australia, pay respects to elders past and present, the ongoing connection between people, land, waters and community. Today's meeting will be run in accordance with the DAP Standing Orders 2024 under the Planning and Development DAP Regulations 2011. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the DAP website in accordance with Regulation 42A of the Planning and Development DAP Regulations 2011. Members are able to be using their technical devices throughout the meeting to assist them with the information for them today. I would like to formally announce the members for today's meeting. Online, we have Councillor Fergus Bennett. In the room today, to my furthest right, we have Deputy Mayor Kerry Smythe. My furthest left, I should say, Deputy Mayor Kerry Smythe. We have Specialist Member John Syme, Deputy Presiding Member Eugene Coltas. My name is Francesca Lafanti, Presiding Member. We have one apology for today's meeting. It is listed in our agenda, Councillor Rebecca Coghlan. We have no members on leave of absence. This DAP meeting minutes will be available on the website. Members, can I have a show of hands that you have duly considered all matters before you in relation to the item on this agenda? That is unanimous for the minute taker. Members, are there any disclosures of interest in relation to this item? Councillor Fergus Bennett and then
thank you.
Yourself.
I declare that I've participated in past meetings as a councillor and DAP member. However, I will judge this application on its merits with full impartiality.
Thank you for that interest. Approval is granted for full participation in today's item, including voting. We'll now go to the Deputy Mayor, Kerry Smythe.
Thank you. My declaration is the same as Councillor Bennett's. Thank you.
Thank you. That interest is also impartial and full approval. Approval is given for full participation in today's items. Are there any other interest disclosures? There are no other interest disclosures for the minute taker. We will now move forward to the items. There are no Form 1 items. We have a Form 2 item. It is related to the development at number 80, Stirling Highway, and number 246, Florence Road and Leeds Street, Nedlands. I'm going to move to the presenters. We have one presenter in support of the proposal who is online. Ferida Farag and Chris Nolan. I hope I have pronounced those okay. And I'm turning over to yourselves for your presentation.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Ferida Farag. I'm from Urbis. I'm speaking on behalf of Woolworths, the proponent of the application. I've also got Chris Nolan from Urbis in the room and Blair Hallen from Woolworths. We're very pleased to see the City of Nedlands' recommendation of support and are appreciative of their time working with us through the assessment process for this application. Panel members, as you will have seen from the officer's recommendation, our application only sought minor modifications to the original approval, reflective of the detailed design changes undertaken by our project architects and engineers. Today, we would like to request 2 modifications to additional advice notes 9 and 10 in the officer's recommendation, just to ensure that they are clear and accurate. For advice note 9, we request that this is updated to include the right-in movement for Stanley Street, as approved in the original DA and agreed with Main Roads WA. In the agenda, you will have seen correspondence from Main Roads from the 6th of March as well, confirming that they are happy with the proposal and they have no further advice beyond their initial correspondence from the original application. For advice note 10, we request that this is updated to clarify that the proponent is only required to pay 50% of the road infrastructure cost for Florence Road. noting the recently approved Aldi development on the corner of Stirling Highway and Florence Road has been required to pay the other 50% through their DAP approval on the 11th of February this year. We therefore respectfully request your approval of the application with the requested modifications to the 2 advice notes as presented just now. Thank you so much for your time, and we would be pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you. Panel members, are there any questions to this presenters?
We have one. Just in regard to coordinating the works, if one party is significantly advanced and the other hasn't even started, how are you going to coordinate the, because one party may want to start and operate, for example, if it's Woolworths, and they have to construct the facility, how are you going to coordinate a 50% contribution from the adjoining owner?
So I could probably assist with that. I believe the Aldi, the Aldi condition is just a contribution, whereas our condition refers to the construction. So we'll just be seeking a contribution of the costs. Given that we're currently under construction, we would be undertaking the works, and Aldi would just be required to give a contribution.
To follow up, have you spoken to Aldi as the mechanism for that? Because you may construct it and they might say, no, we're not contributing.
Yeah, we are in regular discussion with Aldi. To be honest, their condition is a little bit unclear, or that they are probably quite uncertain around their condition and how it would be applied. However, there is a general understanding they are required to pay a 50% contribution.
Okay, all right. It'll be at clearance stage. I think that somebody's going to have to sort that out.
Okay, can I follow up on that? Is that a matter then between you and them? The city really is not involved with that, are they?
That would be the case, Mr. Syme, yeah, and it's essentially design and construct with main roads because it's works by others, so it's not as much the city, it's main roads, Aldi and Woolworths, and I think from a construction management perspective, there's been ongoing conversations probably for the last 12 months, so I think there's an element of confidence there that it'll get done.
Sure, but it's between, it's up to you to collect the money from them directly, isn't it? It doesn't go through any third party.
Yes, I would believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Are any other questions? If there are no questions at this juncture, we will move to city officers for comments. Handing over to city officers, we have Dylan Reid with us and Sergio Famiano. Are there any comments you would like to make in relation to this item and included the applicant's requested conditions, changes to advice notes?
Yeah, look, just briefly, obviously we're supportive of the application, supportive of the recommendations. We were approached by the applicant who seemed to suggest that condition 42 was a bit ambiguous in terms of who's responsible for paying and who's responsible for constructing. The way I read that condition, I think it's pretty clear. But in order to, I guess, supplement condition 42, we agreed to apply advice notes just to provide clarity. And so we're quite happy with the advice notes that have been provided. I don't have any major issues with the changes that are proposed by Urbis, just to provide a little bit more clarity in terms of what's to be done at the intersections. The clause condition 42 stipulates that it's subject to main roads approval. So we're quite satisfied that even though the advice note is quite prescriptive in terms of the outcome, that it still does come down to main roads support. So based on that, we don't have any concerns with the advice note that's been written and the changes that have been proposed by Urbis.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions to officers? Yes, Member Ferguson-Bennett.
Thank you, presiding member. Yes, I just wanted to clarify with the city officers that this 50-50 funding arrangement is not going to fall back to the city and leave the city liable to pay something at some stage. And basically, would a some kind of a memorandum of understanding be useful?
Just in response to that, my understanding, the conditions are quite clear. The city is not a party to the construction or the costs associated with those intersections. So as mentioned by our Urbis colleague, we're not technically involved in that process at all. So that is between the landowners and Main Roads.
Any further questions from panel members to city officers? If there are no questions, thank you, city officers. We will move back to the agenda. There is a recommendation at the beginning of the RA. I'm now going to call for a mover of the RA recommendation. Eugene Coltans is moving it. Is there a seconder for the RA recommendation? It is seconded John Thine. Would the mover like to speak to it?
Yes, look, the proposed amendments, as the responsible authority report says, whilst there's a number of them, collectively they're not considered significant to the extent that it's likely to affect the visual amenity or the operational amenity of the redevelopment or the development of the Woolworths site. The amenity to adjoining lots is protected through various amendments to the facades, and there are a number of public submissions made. They were addressed in the responsible authority report and dismissed with the appropriate reasons given for the dismissal of the concerns that adjoining residents may have had. A number of the amendments are related to fire regulations, so they're obviously supported, and others are for access arrangements and the requirements of the proponents for land uses within to be rationalised in terms of location and sizes. In terms of parking, there have been some changes to that, but once again, they're not considered significant enough. And the facade alterations are pretty much minor and supported as well. So that being the case, I'm supporting the recommendation on the RA and also proposing amendments to or the inclusion of the advice notes.
Okay, are you dealing with amendment 1 at this juncture? Obviously, you can't come back. There's only opportunity at this stage. We haven't suspended standing orders. So are you wishing to move amendment 1?
Yes, amendment 1 to advice notes 9 and 10 to as the Urbis proposal, which the officers of council support, that condition 42 refer to limiting Florence Road to left in, left out, and Stanley Street to left in, left out, right in where they intersect. And condition of advice note 10, where the wording at Stanley Street and 50% of costs at Florence Road are included.
Is there a seconder for amendment? It is seconded, John Scythe. Would you like to speak further to the amendment?
No, I think it's quite clear there.
Would the seconder like to speak?
No, it's agreed by the city. I think it's straightforward.
Are there any other speakers on amendment 1?
Yes, I would like clarification. Are we moving
Just you, ma'am.
amendment, which I'm seeing is amend condition 2 for the time? That's what
we're doing is changing, adding these words.
So we've got these amended conditions.
So what's been moved onto the table, just to clarify, we've moved the RA recommendation as written in the beginning here with these amended conditions. That's all been moved. And we're now just dealing with, so that was a move by members, and we're dealing with the advice notes, and that's the amendment 1 to the advice notes only, but the substantive is with all those currently on. Okay. Any other speakers on amendment 1 in relation to the advice notes 9 and 10? If there are no other speakers, do you want to write a reply? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Against? So I'll do it again. Advice note 1. Amendment 1. All those in favour? It's unanimous for the minute taken. Thank you. Back to the mover of the substantive motion. Do you wish to continue to speak to it?
No, I think I've wrapped up on that.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak to the substantive?
Look, these are the sorts of minor adjustments that you'd expect in this stage of a project in design development, particularly a very complex one like this. There's the only changes of substance, I suppose, would be the changes of location of some of the major land uses. For instance, the gym, I think that's been addressed quite happily by the committee, and there's no issue with that. So I think this is a straightforward set of adjustments. I don't think there's any material change, and I think it can be supported on that basis.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers on the substantive motion? There are no other speakers. Would the mover like a right of reply and close of debate?
No, I'll just close debate on it. Thank you.
Debate has been closed. We are going to the vote on the substantive inclusive of amendment 1. All those in favour? It is carried unanimously for the minute taker. I move to the agenda. There are no SAT 31 reconsiderations, and the information contained in relation to SAT applications is listed in the agenda. I accordingly will close the meeting at 9:06 a.m. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you.